My headline today is what a new House Speaker will mean for marijuana reform, including banking. With Representative Kevin McCarthy ousted as House Speaker in a historic vote to vacate the position on Tuesday, cannabis policy observers are wondering how the new GOP leadership will approach marijuana banking, legalization, and other reform issues. Who will take the speakership is yet to be seen, but so far, Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan and Majority Leader Steve Scalise have announced they are running for the top House position. Based on their records, marijuana reform advocates may have their work cut out for them if either attains the Speaker's gavel. This goes on and on and on, bitching about McCarthy. Let's get into what actually it means if it's Jordan or Scalise. Jordan, chair of the Judiciary Committee, has voted against at least 26 cannabis reform proposals during his tenure, including measures to legalize marijuana and promote cannabis research. As ranking member of the Judiciary Committee, Jordan blasted House Democrats for moving to legalize cannabis through the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, also known as the MORE Act, calling it a radical, out-of-touch Democrat priority. Jordan also penned a minority views section of an extensive report prepared for House lawmakers last year that outlined the GOP arguments against the legalization bill as it headed to the floor. This bill is an enormous federal subsidy and stimulus for the marijuana industry. It said this extreme and unwise bill would open the floodgates to marijuana cultivation, distribution, and sale within the United States, allowing bad actors and transnational criminal organizations to further exploit America's addiction crisis. Jordan's section of the report also complained that the legislation would create a significant federal bureaucracy that would include new taxes, expansive grant programs, and a federal license regime. The minority party view at the time, according to the document, was that the reform would also incentivize bad actors and transnational criminal organizations to flood American streets with drugs. That said, it seems very unlikely that Jordan would allow a newly refiled version of the MORE Act to advance through his chamber. With him as Speaker, even greater questions would be raised about what, if anything, could make it to the floor, including cannabis banking legislation. Well, I don't give a damn if MORE Act comes back or not. It was a piece of crap to begin with. All right, Representative Steve Scalise. Scalise, meanwhile, has voted against bills like the MORE Act and the Safe Banking Act twice. Those are among at least 23 examples of cannabis reform legislation he's opposed. Scalise also co-sponsored a bill that included a provision to explicitly prohibit people from accessing welfare assistance at cannabis stores. While he previously polled constituents about their views on marijuana legalization, his office has said that he's personally opposed to the reform, in part because he believes cannabis is a gateway to more dangerous drugs. He was among numerous Republican members of Congress who blasted Democrats over scheduling a vote on the MORE Act in 2020, dismissing the significance of the issue and arguing that it was an inappropriate time to take it up. He also criticized last year's vote on the bill. Scalise, unlike Jordan, did vote in favor of one reform proposal, a bill to expand cannabis research that President Joe Biden later signed into law. Meanwhile, other names that have been floated by insiders as possible contenders for the speakership include House Financial Services Committee Chairman Patrick McHenry, whose panel would likely have jurisdiction over the cannabis banking bills, and Representative Kevin Hern, Jody Arrington, Mike Johnson, and Tom Cole. McHenry, who opposes cannabis banking legislation, but has said he wouldn't necessarily block it from advancing, is currently serving as Speaker pro temp. If he formally gets the speakership and his replacement as chair of the Financial Services Committee was more hostile to the issue, such as Representative Pete Sessions, who currently ranks high on the panel, that could seriously endanger the marijuana banking bill's prospects. I have no idea who's going to be the next speaker, frankly. I got no freaking clue. This place is a shit show. Washington is burning, which is interesting to do in a swamp. I don't know what is going to go down with this thing. Either way, it is going to absolutely be a new path for cannabis banking to go through. I don't think that these two gentlemen, if it's either one of them in charge, is necessarily a nail in the coffin for safe banking. It's just going to be a different pathway. Jordan, we've already gotten his buy-in that he would allow safe banking to make its way. This was prior to all this bullshit going on, so who knows where he will stand nowadays. We will see. Either way, we're fucked. I don't know. Fucked. But
not really.
Dude, There's hope.
This
Always
is
hope.
great. This is a great
Always
opportunity.
hope. We
for
got
America.
plenty of
get
time.
fucked, or we get fucked and then we have hope.
This is a fantastic time
Well,
for
that's
America.
my whole life with men. Fucked, and then there's some hope, and then fucked again. I mean, that's just how the way men like to play their cards. So fucked, hope. That's it.
I'm all in.
Oh man, Gretchen, all that language, you're getting some people in the chat all excited.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's truly it's hell in a handbasket here. I have no idea what's going to happen and how this is all going to play out, especially since Trump
I know how it's gonna
last
play
night
out.
came out and he threw his endorsement behind Jim Jordan.
It's good that Trump came out.
I know. I don't know what he's been hiding for all these years. But the other talk around town is that Trump may actually make an appearance in town, and that's not for his court case. He may make an appearance here to actually try and influence here the speaker race. If that happens, I don't know. Do these guys have backbones? They haven't shown them in the past. We will see if they stand up to Trump on who the next speaker is going to be. Anybody? I've seen a lot of regurgitation. Are you guys all right?
So I can tell you what's going to happen, Gretchen. I already can tell you.
You know?
I live in a
I
crystal
can't wait.
ball.
Tell
Yes.
me, Jason Beck. I've been waiting to hear from you all morning.
I bet. So here's what I ultimately see that's going to happen. Okay, so Steve Scalise is in, as far as the ranking order, he would be the next speaker. I'm not sure if he has the votes, but one person that you left that is heavily in the contention, and also too, I'm supporting Jim Jordan as of right now, until he's not the second most viable candidate. But you know who I think is going to be the third most viable candidate, and who ultimately will probably be the speaker, is probably freshman or Florida Congressman Byron Donalds. I think he is, because he is all part of the McCarthy machine right there and has been on McCarthy's side throughout this. And so I think he is a very, very possible predecessor to the Speaker of the House. Not to mention, my good buddy Matt Gaetz wants to become Florida's next governor, and so does Byron Donalds. And if Byron Donalds is the Speaker of the House, then he will not be able to actually run as the next Florida governor. So
did you and Matt Gaetz cook this up last night? You're going to start this rumor, because I've heard nobody talk about this guy becoming speaker.
There's been a number of people, and I've even seen on mainstream media them talking about Byron Donalds being the next speaker. So no, but this is a real thing, Gretchen, 100%.
Okay, can't wait. Any endorsement from Matt Gaetz is not going to help whoever is.
I didn't say Matt Gaetz was endorsing Byron Donalds. I didn't say that.
Of course he is. He's going to endorse him so he can get him out of the way of being governor.
Slow down. No, he's not.
Yes, you are.
No, he's not. Kevin McCarthy is going to be doing all that dirty work to get Byron Donalds support.
Speaking of dirty work, if Jason and Matt Gaetz cooked that up, they cooked it up in a mobile RV in the desert, Breaking Bad style. It's
you know it, baby.
There's a lot to unpack.
You're just saying that because I grew up in a trailer park, Yarrow. That's kind of mean.
Well, you were fat shaming at the beginning of the session, so like you really kicked it off in a really bad way. I mean,
well, I have a question. I have a question about that.
Well, let's get back to fat.
Okay.
Let's bookmark the marbling and get into the article, which is, you turn up the bass and you're pretty likely to blow out the speaker, right? So that's kind of what happened here. And, I heard a lot about bad actors, and when you were reading about that, Gretchen, I got really defensive because like, this is my shot. This is my high at 9. I'm the bad actor. Like this is my, and as long as there's no casting couch involved, I'm going to try to stay here. And he talked about bad actors and transnationals. I mean, I guess if you guys are going to be really, really messed up on this show, better transnationals than trans illegals. But either way, I think the trans should be welcome. So that's another thing. And then, he talked about the speaker race, and I think race shouldn't have anything to do with who the speaker is. I think that we need to be colorblind in terms of who we decide to be the next.
I agree with that. I don't believe in identity politics. I'm with you on that, Yarrow. I'm with you on that part.
So here's what concerns me though, Jason. You talked about a new member who was in Kevin's sort of.
He's in the McCarthy camp. Yep.
Wait, but you said that he was a rookie, right, or a freshman?
Well, I misspoke at the beginning of that because
he's a sophomore.
I think he's a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think, and maybe this is just because now I finally have some gray hair on my temples, but I think that it's a very bad sign for any political party to be appointing up and comers to a very, very important position where government requires a skilled and experienced hand to get things done.
You know
And
what?
so when you say,
Hold on. There's one part of Byron Donalds that I don't think that you have calculated into this equation here, Yarrow. And I think once I tell you this, he will have your full support. So Byron Donalds, and a lot of people don't know this, but Byron Donalds, prior to him being a congressman, he actually had caught a marijuana trafficking case and fought it. So with that, I think that he would be very, very favorable to cannabis, and I think that he would be a fantastic person to be the Speaker of the House, aside from his relationship with Kevin McCarthy.
I'm a better angler than him because I caught a marijuana trafficking case, but I was able to at least reel it in and get it on shore. So what did his get broken off the line or something like that?
What do you mean? No, he fought the case in the court of law, and he was able to be successful with that. You should be celebrating. You should be celebrating this.
System based on the presumption of innocence until proven guilty.
You should be celebrating this.
But I do think his political affiliation might make him a little innocent. I mean, guilty by association.
I mean, that's anyone's political affiliation, though. You know, just saying. Anyone else have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, break it down.
And Mark, you have any thoughts on this? Mark? Or any of the doctors in the room?
Man,
not me.
It just makes me sick.
It's like a bunch of hot air.
It really does. It makes me sick.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
they should not be talking about transnationals.
Shouldn't be this difficult, you know? I mean, am I wrong? It's Shut the Fuck Up Fridays. I tell them all
until we separate big money from politics.
That's never going to happen, bro. You have to feed the machine,
The
Dr.
politicians will be beholden to the people who are stuffing money into their pockets.
That's
End
true.
of story. That's it.
Yep. It's the golden rule. The one with the gold makes the rules. Very true. All right. Well,
we got to get more gold.
Yes, that's right. Got to get more gold.
People need to remember, and just while it's important, well, semi-important, who is the speaker, it also matters who's in charge of committees. And with all this shuffling, that's going to put different people in charge of these committees. If Jordan were to leave judiciary, that could bode well for safe banking. Because while he's semi on board, he wasn't that on board. It's so many moving parts that could actually factor in. And you're like, why would safe banking come under judiciary? If the HOPE Act, if Graham Act gets attached to safe banking, that's where it's going in the House. It's not going to be financial services. It'll have to maybe go through both committees. There's just a whole lot of uncertainty and things we don't know that is going to factor into the pathway of this bill. Honestly, do I think now, and I know I've been saying this, and I am the first to take something back, unlike anyone else on the show.
Yeah, right.
Generous of you. Don't ever give me a gift.
Yeah.
Mark today.
I'm checking High and Nine's return policy.
Unless Congress decides to say, we're going to work for the American people and be back every single day until the end of the year, I don't know if SAFE is going to get done this year. Because all these jokers who are going to run for the House, first they got to get elected.
That's right.
They got to get that done. That's going to take a week, maybe 2 more weeks till that happens. Then we have to contend with the whole government shutdown coming again. These guys, if it is a good old mega crazy Trumper type guy, they have already promised not to do CRs. So that means the government will shut down because there is no way they're going to pass the appropriation bills necessary to keep the place running. So we're going to get fucked left and right. We'll see. I think SAFE is going to get pushed to next year.
I mean, you got a lot of this
can I ask you?
There is a lot of fucking on my mind, Yarrow. There's a ton of that, especially in this town. All you do is get fucked and raped here.
That's right.
That's how legislation gets done. That's how the sausage is made.
No,
a lot of fucking.
There before the fucking.
That's right.
Lots of.
All right. Is that why it's not working so well? Good to know. Maybe Dr. Mark or Dr. Talleyrand can give me a refresher on how that all works.
Because both of them will play doctor with you.
I have a question for you, Christian. So the farm bill, the 2018 farm bill, I believe expired last Saturday. Does this affect the committee shuffling that you're talking about? Affect the next version of the farm bill?
Well, it'd be helpful if I knew who the chair of the Ag Committee is right now. And the only reason I'm thinking that the shuffling will be affected is because Jordan is Judiciary Chair. McHenry, who's also another possible contender, he is the Chair of Financial Services. So that's what I'm thinking about with committee shuffling. No, Ag should not be affected, unless
usually when you look at a farm bill,
Elise
like
is in charge of
out of the
Ag.
refrigerator, even if the farm bill has expired, you got to like another couple weeks before it goes really rancid. Just
Yarrow,
so you know.
I got no time for you, Yarrow. You're driving me nuts. The chairman is Glenn Thompson. No, it should not affect. I don't think so.